Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showing you a split complementary colouring with Spectrum Noir Aqua markers. I've had a lot of fun getting all my aqua markers out and categorising them, so I've put together this colour wheel for you. Hopefully you'll agree with where I've placed them. If not, let me know. So I'm using one of my favourite stamps that's ever been made, this lovely fairy mushroom house. First, what I'm doing is I'm just covering it all over with a very light brown and then huffing it. Huffing meaning bringing it up to your mouth and just getting some of that breath onto it to reactivate the water ink on it. And then you just press down your watercolour card onto the image, onto the stamp, and then you'll get a lovely image that you'll be able to work from. You can see what I do is I put together a little colour swatch of the colours that I'd like to be using. I said I wanted to do a split complementary colour scheme, and so the colours I've chosen to go with the red of the mushrooms, you go opposite that on the colour wheel, and the direct complementary is green. The split complementary for the reds are your yellow greens and your blue greens. So I always work on the background of my image first and do that in a nice light style. So I've gone in with one of my darker shades of yellow greens and just gone all the way around the outline. Then I'm going in with my water barrel brush, which I absolutely love. It gives just enough amount of water out that you're not getting too much onto your watercolour card, and also your water is always clean because it's coming straight from the barrel within the pen itself. When you want to add more colour, what you can do is just colour directly onto your glass mat or a tile, and then pick up the colour using your water brush pen and just directly put it onto your image where you're wanting it to be. Okay, so here's where I'm adding the other part of that split complementary. I'm going in with a more blue-green and putting that up around the edges. Also spraying it with some water just to help that ink disperse a little bit easier. I wanted to break up the background just a little bit more, so what I've done is I'm putting in some yellow highlighting spots just to draw your eye a little bit. When that's completely dry, you can then start working on your main part of the image, and because your paper's dry now, it's not going to bleed out into the background. So I'm going in with a lovely flame red and I'm using the picture that came with the stamp as guidance, but I'm gonna add a little bit more highlighting and shading to it. So I'm just putting the red on at the moment where I'm wanting the darker shadowy areas to be. Then I go in with my watercolour brush again and just draw that out, and then add more from my glass mat when it's needed. If you want to skip to 8 minutes and 30 seconds, that's when I'll be starting the next part of the colouring. So you can see on my colour swatch, I've put down my browns and creams that I have, just so I can see where I'm going for the main part of this mushroom. I decided to go with the mid-tone desert to start off with, just to get some colour down in the background, and then I moved on to tawny, just to get a little bit more shadowing in. the front mushroom is in the direct line of where I've decided my light's coming from, I've gone with the sandstone, which is a much lighter shade, to colour the main part of that mushroom. And then gone back in with desert and tawny just to put some shadows in. So leaving that to dry, because what I'm wanting to do is go directly in with the fine tip of the Aqua marker pen, which is on the other side, which is a brilliant feature. Find it much easier to use than fine brushes, and I'm using the sepia to go in and just detail the windows and the doors and some of the other aspects I want to really stand out. Then gone back to the brush nib just to put some more shadowing details in. So here I've gone away from the split complementary scheme a little bit. I just wanted the foreground to be a little bit different and decided to go with a direct complementary scheme to the red. So I'm going with a green. I believe this one is Bud Green, and it makes that foreground just stand out a little bit more. then I'm just going in with the fine nib of the flame red and just going around the edges of the mushroom and the little white dots just to make them more detailed and stand out more. I wanted to make this image quite mystical and a twilight scene, so I've put yellow in the windows to suggest that the fairies have got their lights on. To add a little bit of texture, I'm using different shades of green just to flick in some grass blades around the mushroom. Then you can see I'm just going back and forth again, just stepping back, having a look at the image, seeing if there's more shadows needed, going back in and adding them. I always love doing faux bleaching when I've got more mystical pictures. So here what I'm doing is I'm just directly putting drops of water from my brush onto the background, then just letting it settle just for a few seconds, and then you just dab the water off with a clean paper towel and you can see it lifts the ink off. So to just finish, I'm wanting to put an edge on my drawing. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm wanting this twilighty kind of scene, I'm going to use some smoky greys and black, and just using my blender tool, just going all the way around the edges, blending it in as I go. I'm actually using here the Spectrum Noir water reactive inks and an old makeup brush tool that I've got. You can just use your normal blending tool. I'm just having a bit of a go with this makeup tool, see what it's like. get rid of those harsh white lines around the edges of the paper, you just go directly with your ink pad onto the edges, and then you get that lovely dark finish. And there's my lovely little mushroom fairy house. I hope you really liked this video, and I hope you've learned something from it. If you have, then please, if you can subscribe to my channel and support me, and go to my website, join in, make some comments, and I'll be back soon. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.